Hello there, this is Histrivia number 18, and we're going to do McCarthyism for this one. Now, McCarthyism, you might have heard about it, it's well known in American history. If you've studied, post-World War II American history and Cold War American history. But I'm just going to go over a brief overview real quick, not too much in detail, just a brief overview. McCarthyism is named after Wisconsin Republican Senator Joseph McCarthy. He was the leader of numerous government investigations to fight communistic activities within the United States. On February 9th, 1950, he made a speech in the U.S. Senate, claiming to have a list of 250 known communists in President Truman's State Department, including those of Alger Hiss. That's Dean Acheson's friend. Of course, Dean Acheson was, I think, Truman's Secretary of State. And he also attacked Secretary of Defense George Marshall, creator of the Marshall Plan to rebuild Europe during the war. Well, not during, after the war. But anyway, he continued attacks on presidential administrations throughout the 1940s and 1950s. First, he attacked the Truman administration, saying that there's known communists in the State Department, in the Truman administration. Truman knows about it, and he's not doing anything about it. So, therefore, McCarthy basically was saying that the President of the United States is a communist sympathizer. He didn't stop with Truman either. After Eisenhower's victory in 1952, he continued to attack presidential administrations. He attacked the Eisenhower administration starting in 1953, stating that Eisenhower had well-known communists within his departments, and it was just a mess. In fact, by 1953, when President Eisenhower is in office, you have McCarthy's approval ratings go way down from a 50% approval rating in the Senate to 35% approval rating among the public of Americans. By 1953, you have Republicans in Congress plus the Eisenhower administration itself distancing themselves from McCarthy and his attacks, basically saying that, we're not with him. He's just one crazy Republican going off on a, crazy adventure. We're not like that at all. So just ignore what he's doing. Don't make him the symbol of the Republican Party. He only represents himself. He doesn't represent the views of the Republican Party at all. So just ignore him, was basically the Republicans in Congress and the Eisenhower administration basically distancing themselves from McCarthy and his crazy ideas. By the next year, by late 1954, probably around December, you have the U.S. Senate basically having enough of McCarthy's slander and lies and attacks. And what they do is the U.S. Senate censors McCarthy for violating Senate rules. Apparently, he didn't go through proceedings of some sort when he was accusing people, so they got him on that. Either that or they just lied just so they can censor him and keep him quiet. But that still didn't stop him from talking. He still continued to talk after 1954, but he was mainly a laughingstock, and no one really paid any attention to him. Between 1955 and his death, a few years later, in 1957, he was basically a laughingstock in the U.S. Senate. He, no one trusted him, no one believed a word that he said, and he died in 1957 just being totally hated and leaving this tarnished record in his Senate career. And basically, McCarthyism is known as this horrible crusade against supposed communists. So anyway, that's McCarthyism in a nutshell. Sorry I didn't go too in-depth into it. I just wanted to do a quick overview. If you want to know more, you can easily look it up. So, that's it.